Hello everyone, it's Larry Lursey. Welcome back for another Photoshop tutorial. This one is a look at one of the Topaz filters called Topaz Lens Effects, which does a variety of cool things to your images and pretty easy to use. And I'm going to run you through and show you basically the range of the things that it can do. And I'll also tell you how to not only try it out for free with a trial, but how to get a discount on it if you want to buy it. So anyways, let's take a look first and show you what it does. I've got a couple images here. We'll start with something simple, just kind of a portrait. We'll jump into this one first. I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of the layer. I always like to work on a separate layer just to keep things organized. And we'll jump in here to Topaz Labs Lens Effects. Alright, now as this is set up a lot like most of the Topaz filters, you've kind of got your effects up here, the different categories, and then as you click on a category, most of them have different presets underneath. And a lot of these are pretty self-explanatory. I think a lot of the ones on here maybe that would be working for a regular portrait would be something like the warmth filter here. You can click here, by the way, for before and after. So it's not doing a whole lot to that image in this one. What we could do is probably go to one of the warming ones, probably a little bit easier to see. Maybe the warming 2, and then there's the before and after. Definitely warms it up some. And again, the way Topaz works is you've got the different filters here, the presets, which are kind of subcategories of each of those here, image in the middle, and then over here is where you can fine-tune things. And there's usually some drop boxes here. This one's pretty simple. It's pretty cut and dry because it's just a warming filter, and if it's not exactly how you like it, you can dial this up to the extreme warming or take it the other direction. Do whatever you want. You can also come down here to save and save these presets if you get something that you like and you want to be able to apply it to a whole bunch of different images. Other things you can do, you can add a vignette, add grain, all kinds of different things that you can do. It's pretty, that's the creative blur we don't want. There's the warmth. Okay, so that's kind of more of your simple type things that this does. One other thing that I would mention is I like to look at this view here and just kind of go before and after. But you can click on this little icon here and put them side by side. Then you're able to see the before and the after at the same time. So it kind of depends on what your workflow is, how you want that to work. So this is pretty simple. Let's just for grins, I'm going to do the warm 2 and go ahead and hit OK down here. And there we go. We can look, turn off the top layer. There's the regular image. There it is with the warm. Now here's a little tip that I would suggest you do once you've done this effect. I always double click on this layer and then put some sort of a code like Topaz LE for lens effects warm 2. That way I know exactly what I did, because so many times you'll go back later and you'll say, oh, I really like that look. I don't remember how I got it. And especially if you've got a whole bunch of different filters. Even if you just have one, like Topaz Lens Effects, it's got so many different options in there. Really easy to forget what you did. So I always like to go in and label it like that, just so if I come back later and she goes, oh, I love that look, but I got a different pose I want it on, I can take that new image and I know right where to go, the Lens Effects Warm 2. So just a little tip that I do to keep track of what I've done to an image. So we'll take this one here and take a look at some of the other very interesting effects you can get with the Topaz Lens Effects. So let's run back in here. Alright, so let's try out some of the more creative effects that you can get with this plugin. Now, if you're working with a shot like this, certainly you can go back and do some of your things like polarization, warmth, all those things. By the way, I'm going to split it to split screen here so we can kind of see before and after. Certainly that will work with a lot of these. But take a look here at a couple that I think are particularly interesting. The fog one, for example, adds a nice little fog through here. Let's pump it up to like fog 2 so we can really see it. Fog 3 maybe. And I think it's pretty accurate considering it's something that's just a one-click deal, and it's given it a nice foggy look here compared to what we had there. So it's, certainly you could go back and tweak that a little bit. You can go into these fog adjustments and work on exactly how you want it to be, thicker, the various transitions, how quickly it drops off to the fog. Or you just go with these presets, and I think they're pretty good. So that's a pretty easy one to use for things like that. One of the really cool ones is some of these camera simulators, like the tilt shift. The tilt shift is known for having this really shallow depth of field. And what you can see here on the right is we've got this kind of a diagonal piece of in focus. Everything else is blurry. And you can see over here under the presets, diagonal top to left. I'm going to come down here to horizontal centered. It's got this piece going through here. Then what you can do is you go over here to tilt shift adjustments, like all the Topaz ones. This is over here where you fine tune it. The way I like to do this is click on the effect position button, and it kind of circles it. And then you click in here where you want that center of focus to be. So I'm going to say right here. And you can see it's moved it to this band to right across here. And then you can go in here with the width area. Do you want it to be a more narrow? Do you want it to be a wider? How quickly do you want it to drop off to the blur? How much blur do you want? And by playing around with that, you can get this look, this tilt shift look that almost makes it look like it's a toy, like a model. The image on the right looks pretty much like right out of the camera type of snapshot. The one on the right looks like you've taken a picture of a little model of the Great Wall. So it's an interesting effect to do, and you can play around with that tilt shift to draw the focus however you want it to go. If you want to really dive into this thing, we'll go to the bokeh selective, or let's go to the SLR lens. And you pick a lens, and it's going to simulate depth of field off this lens. We'll just go with an 85. And you're going to see down here it's going to say effect needs a depth map. And what a depth map is basically telling the program this should be in focus, this should be out of focus, and everything in between. And you create it very simply by just clicking this Edit Depth Map button. And this is going to switch to a mask, and it's going to show you black where basically the effect is masked out and it looks completely sharp, all the way back to pure white where it's completely out of focus. And it's done this by looking at it and making calculations on what you want. Hit the after button here, and you can see it's kept this all sharp, drops off to really blurry in the background, which is nice, once again, for if you had distracting elements back here you wanted to get rid of, it'd be a great way of doing it. In this particular image, I don't mind the background, but you can certainly see the effect on here. If you want to dive in and get a little more control over the process, I'll kind of run you through that real quick. What you can do is we go over here to the right, hit reset to get rid of that mask. I'm going to switch back to masked view so we can see what we're doing. And the first thing you would do is click on the Use Gradient brush. And this is going to set up a gradient where it goes we've got from 0 to 55. So from 0 effect to full effect. Start here in the foreground, which have no effect on it. Drag back to the horizon line. And you can see it's not doing a full-on gradient. It's kind of looking at what's there and making adjustments to it. It's kind of guessing at it. So we're going to let it get as close as it can, do a few more of these. And so now we've got, and you see over here what we got, the bottom part is in focus and it drops off really quickly. So let's say you want to have this walkway be in focus. Everything else out of focus. I don't know. That's just your creative idea you've come up with. You can turn off the gradient brush. Select a brush size. We'll say it was 64. Looks like a pretty good size. And then you decide how much effect you want. And we'll say we want 0 effect. We want it to be no effect on it whatsoever. I'm going to come here. I'm just going to paint it along this little area like that. Let it work for a second. And there you go. You can see, if you look at the map here, it hasn't just haphazardly followed our brush. It's gone through and tried to guess what's in focus and what's out of focus. And you can see, like right here, it got fooled by these people right here on the edge. So I could kind of give one more little swap like that. Let's see if I can bring that back in. There we go. And you can see now it's all out of focus, but just the wall itself is in focus. So it's pretty cool effect. Again, it depends on if you want to spend a lot of time over here tweaking this map, telling it exactly how you want it to work, or if you want to just use the preset, let it guess for itself. Like I said, a lot of times it's very accurate. But that's pretty much how that goes. And we would go ahead if we wanted to keep this one. And again, I'd recommend you doing it on a separate layer and labeling it so you know exactly what it was you did. But that's just kind of a look at some of the things that you can do with this Topaz Lens Effect plugin. So it really is an interesting thing to have in your toolbox. If you want to take a look at this, there's a link in the description that will take you there where you can get a free trial of it. And then if you like it and want to get it, use the coupon code LarryPhoto15, and that will give you a 15% discount. So it'll take a good product and make it even better by saving you a little money. So make sure you enter that code. And I hope this has helped. I hope you'll check out the plugin and have a lot of fun with it. So take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.